This is an indoor track and field. Usually people come here to participate in local or national events, and sometimes it's the perfect place for residents of this community to come to warm up here and shape up. And inside here is at a small track area where people can come and warm up while they're exercising, or they warm up before exercising heavily and before moving on to something else. Let's assume, for instance, that someone wants to participate in a competition, a serious competition. That person needs to first make sure that he or she is in shape. So the person will come to do some exercise to build up his muscles and cardiovascular system, to become much stronger. And then the person, before goes over to the huge track, will come here and warm up again. But in both instances, whether the person goes outside in the big track or stays here, the track must be free from all obstacles to enable the athletes to run. And if anybody comes before the event or someone's training to poke some holes on this track, that person would be arrested. That person would be an outlaw, because he would have damaged public property. That person cannot be considered as a person of good moral standard, nor can that person be allowed to organize the elections or the competition here. The reason why I'm showing this to you is to make a parallel between the rules and regulations that dictate a competition and elections. In Côte d'Ivoire, the country has been divided as a result of the terrorist occupation of part of the country. They have no right to have done that, and the United Nations shouldn't have given them the leverage to remain there for so long. A month would have been long enough to ask them to move out of the occupied zone. But the United Nations, in conjunction with the French government, has drafted several resolutions to strengthen the rebels' position. And the results are there. Nothing has moved since the occupation of Côte d'Ivoire. Elections were never held, and the wealth of the country has been plundered. Poverty has increased. The rate of mortality has increased as a result of people not being able to take care of themselves. The rate of and the prevalence of infectious diseases and all sorts of epidemic has increased. Well, the country is in a total disarray, and all these at the disadvantage of the population. And it is time that the United Nations and the French government, as well as the European and the African Union, put a foot down and clear up the way, clear up this track, clear up the way in Côte d'Ivoire so that election can take place. Because you do not allow gangsters, criminals, killers terrorists to be part of an election. It is inconceivable in a developed country, and it should not be conceivable in a developing country. So let's take this simple example of this truck. This truck cannot be used if it is occupied by a group of people who are breaking the rules of this house. It is simple as that. I'm speaking out of a gymnasium in the United States. The rules are very simple. You come and occupy this zone here, this truck here, well, they'll call security to get you out of here. It is very simple. Same thing with elections. No one can come to try to organize the elections in the United States. No one can raise against Barack Obama just because they don't like his policy. They can raise against him by going through a normal process to protest whatever they don't want. And they can go through the Congress, through their representative, or their Senate, through the radio, but nowhere in the United States will you see anyone seize part of a country with guns and killing people and raping children just to make a point. It is just not conceivable. Here, when you do that, you're arrested and they take you to a mental institution to treat you before they give you over to the court, and then you are judged and sentenced according to the seriousness of your crime. So it is time to do the same in order for democracy to reign. And without democracy in a country such as Côte d'Ivoire and many other African countries, poverty will always remain, and people will always live in a very precarious condition. I don't think that these are the reason why the United Nations exist. I think the United Nations exist, and the European Union and the African Union exist to make sure that there is a perfect balance of power, there is a perfect balance in international relations, and to make sure that people live a better life. The United Nations has UNICEF, has the World Health Organization, has UNDP. All these organizations cannot be functional and in the same time allow the disturbance of small countries by allowing and condoning this deleterious action continuously perpetrated by the terrorists. So I think it is time for the United Nations to kick the terrorists out of Côte d'Ivoire, and it is feasible. People have suffered so much, and there is no reason for the terrorists to remain and to be part of a solution that they have, or the problem that they have created. When someone does something wrong in the United States or France, they are not part of a solution. They are removed, and the police and the institution take over to resolve the matter. That's the normal way of doing things, and it is applicable to every African countries. Let's not make fool of the intelligence of the people of Côte d'Ivoire in Africa by thinking that we should apply a different standard. The standard of democracy should be applied throughout. So it is time for the rebels to be removed. Those who give them the right to remain through their resolutions have to make sure that they write that they did it wrong, they made a wrong decision, and decree that the terrorists be removed. Armand Christian Sery-Ble, President, Smyrna, Africa, for the global campaign for the universalization of democracy. in the world. Thank you.